188.
Yeah, 188.
Is it 188?
Mm-hmm.
Look at you guys doing your research.
Yeah.
What are we going to do anything for our 200th episode?
If you want to schedule it, then yes, because
Wait a minute.
Wait,
November
too much to schedule.
11th and 12th. I'm just saying.
is
yeah,
that the
well,
200?
It
We'll
would
just
have been
start
nice.
smacking it in.
It'll be close to the 200.
It'll
We're not
be
even
close.
recording yet, are we?
Thank you, Chaz.
You're welcome.
We just missed gold.
That thing right there, though, is the most counterintuitive. The green means stop, red means go.
We've made this mistake before.
I don't know why they do that.
How often have you made that mistake?
David Lee made it once,
Twice, I think.
twice. Once was a fair amount of the show, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to
And
ask.
then
how
once was just an intro. But we really did record the whole show ever. I think it was like a good 45 minutes.
It was.
And we recorded the whole 45 minutes over again. Just went back in like we hadn't talked about it.
And it got better.
I think it did get better.
Yeah.
It was like
doing a second lap of pretending like it's a fresh, like you just came up with this idea right now.
yeah. It was good.
Why don't you make the introductions, Chaz, to our listeners?
We are honored to be joined this afternoon by both John Brooks and Kevin Miller of the Florida Surf Film Festival. Both live or make their homes in Central Florida, near Orlando. John, where exactly? Are you Smyrna?
I'm currently Smyrna. It's
Smyrna.
pronounced Smyrna.
Smyrna.
New
and
Smyrna.
Kevin is in Winter Wonderland. What's it called?
Yeah,
Winter Park.
Winter Park. Not to be confused with Winter Haven when you're GPSing it and trying to find it.
Chaz
Or
drove,
Winter Garden.
Chaz drove 90 minutes in the wrong direction.
It made-
We were supposed to meet for dinner one time.
I was with
Warshaw was livid.
Warshaw, and I thought it was funny. I was like, oops. Oh, I mean, this like welcome to my life. That happens to me all the time. So I was like, uh-oh, wrong spot. Let's turn around for an hour and a half the other way. And Warshaw, his face was just a mask of pure rage for like the first 45 minutes back.
Why are there
Were you lighting up ciggies too during the ride? Okay.
blowing it. Oh, Matt, look at that.
why are there so many winters in Florida?
Because it's for winter birds or whatever they're called.
Snowbirds.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the
snowbirds.
New York rich
Gotcha.
had the money to come down through Jacksonville on the St. Johns River and down to Sanford, and then they would just sort of deplane there and jump on trains and carriages.
But I understand that, but what I'm saying is it should be called Summer Park instead of Winter Park.
No, they come there in the winter.
So it's their winter
I
park.
get it.
It's like,
I get it.
yeah,
it's like your
summer.
red light,
Yes.
and green
Yeah,
light.
Gotcha. Yes, counterintuitive. What are you guys doing here?
It's a fun getaway. At the same time, we're trying to make sure we stay ever present and in the biz, as they like to call it. We're going to go to Taylor Steele's Salento Surf Festival.
Nice.
Which includes a 3-night film component that includes movies we've already shown, fortunately, but also movies we haven't, and some of which are going to be in our programming announcement shortly. I would say, FaceTime at the festival and saying hi and just enjoying it for once. Like, we don't have to do any work. We can sit in the chair and drink a cold beer or whatever we want to do.
Cold tequila, you
Doesn't
mean.
matter. Yeah.
A cold shot of tequila.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, will Robert Machado be there?
Because
Yes,
the
they're
momentum.
having a 30-year anniversary of the Momentum Generation, including a live panel discussion with all the boys,
Wow.
Nice.
preceded by some Benji Weatherly stand-up comedy,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
the thing we're looking forward to the most.
Have you seen any of it yet?
No.
I had Benji on the podcast and
I listened,
talked about that. Yeah. And I was like, so have you developed a routine? He's like, no. What? I'm a funny guy. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but there's real professional funny, comedic actors and stuff. But if they want to get into stand up, it's a craft and you got to work the craft. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, like, how are you do you not know this? So I have no idea how it went, but I'll be curious.
heard
I'm
me?
guessing he doesn't have a type 5.
He's got a loose 48.
Yeah.
So basically this trip is just a way to put something on the expense report that you would want to do anyways for fun.
100%.
There's some truth to that. We're for the first time we're recording, by the way, from the Surfing Heritage and Cultural Center, which you may have already mentioned, but the idea was that we need to check this place out while we're here. I had never met Spencer, and we had just had Dick Metz out to the festival in June, where we showed Birth of the Endless Summer. Great film, and Dick's actually in town, so now I know I need to look him up. And yeah, it's a good way to, every 3 years, John and I like to come out here and remind ourselves that there is another coast also, and go surfing, you know, like we did this morning.
Good.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shack real quick,
Yeah.
the Surf Heritage and Culture Center is having their 5th annual golf safari this 2022. It's on Tuesday, October 11th at the San Juan Hills Golf Club in San Juan Capistrano. And I would imagine you go to shack.org, shacc.org for more information to sign up. But David Lee Scales, I would imagine this is a fundraiser, right?
I would think so.
A fun golf fundraiser. Do you golf?
I do not.
Have you ever golfed?
He does.
I know Kevin Miller does. I know John Brooks does.
I have golfed. I'm trying hard to not get into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a pull to get into it that you're fighting? Or is
Old
there no...
age. My dad lives on a golf course. Yes, there's
does
reasons to golf.
So
but
does your dad say, let's go hit the ball around?
if he does, I will. But I don't want to. I know so many people who have developed an addiction to it, and I don't need that addiction.
That's
and it
why
takes
I
way too
avoid
much
cocaine.
time. There you go.
Yeah.
Too expensive. Golf also too expensive. Too much
Yes.
time.
Yes.
I don't have 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm amazed by people who are good at it. But in regard to the Shack thing, who played last year? Who showed up last year but will not show up this year probably? Because
Well,
we can't advertise it that way.
I did hear that Kelly Slater, the world's greatest surfer, showed up last year to play in the Shack golf fundraiser. But I heard through a source that it was because it was on a private course. This is on a public course, which I'm sure is better and more beautiful than the private course. But Kelly, being an asshole, will not be seen in public.
But he has been at this event in the past. So that's a reason enough. Come get some of Kelly's aura from the previous event, even if he doesn't show up for this one. You've golfed with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have. In fact, we invited him to join us earlier this week, and we got the. We'll see if I can make it happen. You know,
At least you got a reply.
well, yeah, we got a reply, which I was thrilled about. But anyway, he is always welcome to golf with us.
Absolutely.
He made our dreams come true. We got to meet the world champ, asshole that he is. No,
Is
he's not an
Kelly
asshole. I'm just-
could Kelly be a what is when you're not pro golfer? What's it called?
Well, I mean,
Is he good enough to be a competitive golfer? You reckon?
Yes.
yeah, he could be on the senior tour with
Yeah, the Champions Tour.
Yeah, that's what
without a
it's
doubt.
called.
Age 50 and above.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
He shot, and I think I covered this on the podcast. He played really well when we played with him, and I mean, obviously he's on. He gets invited to the pro-ams that are like charity events, and he always seems to be up there pretty close. And if he actually concentrated on it, can you only imagine?
Why doesn't he do that? Like, you would think that would scratch his competitive itch. It would allow him to continue to travel, do something he likes to do, and not be shamed by young boys in the water.
He's still taking down pipe titles.
I mean, that's okay. He could show up to pipe. He could show up to Chopu, right? You go to the ones.
Well, there's that.
But then forget the rest of it, and then golf.
I don't know. Would he requalify with just 2 results?
I
Probably
think
not.
they'd give him
Wild
wild
cards.
cards.
I think Kelly
Wild
would.
cards.
Yeah.
In
there's that.
perpetuity invited to
Just
those
to the events. He could call him up and say, I want to go to this event. And
Yes.
we're like, okay.
I think that'll be the transition plan.
And
Yeah.
not one surf fan would, I don't think, I mean, maybe one would, but most would say, obviously. Like, Kelly asked for a wild card, Kelly gets a wild
Yeah,
card.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what puzzles me? I think somebody wrote, was it you, that Kelly was mad at the WSL last week or something?
Wasn't me.
Was there something mentioned on the podcast?
I wish
I don't think
that
so.
it was me.
Okay.
But
Never mind.
break the news right here.
No, well,
You're
just,
friends with him. You tell us.
Yeah, really tight. So tight. Well, no, I misheard something then. Just disregard what I said
Okay,
because
will
I
do.
don't think, yeah.
I was thinking about doing a Florida themed show
Oh,
since
cool.
you guys are here in honor of, and the way that we will open. It turns out I wasn't able to come up with a Florida themed show, but we'll have little segments that are dedicated to Florida. The first of which is really fun game that we like to play called Florida Man, where you enter into the Google machine the words Florida Man and your birth date, and you read the headline that pops up. Are you guys familiar with this
I've
game?
done this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We did this in Florida the last time.
Oh, that's right.
We
It wasn't
recorded.
on air though, was it?
It was on air.
Dang. Okay.
We could do
It's
it
the
again.
second time we've done it.
See, my good ideas are so good. They come around
Yeah, they
twice.
come around twice.
What's your birthday?
May 9th.
Florida Man, May 9. Do you remember what the headline was?
I don't, actually.
Okay, let's see. The first headline that popped up: Florida man cited after authorities found an illegally poached gator foot stuck in his dashboard.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prepped mine already. Florida man, October 1st. Florida man accused of shooting cat with crossbow.
I remember that one too.
Okay.
Incredible.
But is this also a way to plug that your birthday is October 1st?
Yeah, send in gifts.
That's right around the corner.
Happy birthday to you, by the way. We just missed it.
I know.
August 14th, Florida man blames hookah smoking caterpillar for wrecking liquor store, police say.
So true.
Header. Suspect told police his name was Alice Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on in
par
Florida?
for the course. It's almost like it's normal reading for us. I mean,
Well, what's going on in Florida, boys?
Well, John, you want to tell us about your life?
Yeah, John, what do you do
Yeah.
for a living and what do you experience on the daily?
Oh, geez. Yeah. Mine's May 19th. Let's look
Okay,
that
do you
one up
remember what
here.
yours is?
I don't. That's what
Okay.
I want to know.
May. I didn't realize your guys' birthdays were so close to one another. You guys do joint parties and stuff?
We should.
Share a
We,
pinata.
yeah.
I'm never invited to his birthday party.
I don't do birthday parties. Birthday parties are for 6 and 8-year-olds, of which I've had plenty of those. So
Got it.
I'm going to celebrate with whoever is sitting around me at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
Good
John,
deal.
Florida man cooked alive after deputies taser ignites fuel at gas station.
Oh, that's
Wow.
a new one, actually, from last time.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah,
That
that's a
wasn't- yeah.
different one.
That one, yeah, it's actually May 19th, 2022. So we got a
Oh,
fresh headline
geez,
for you.
Wow.
Yeah,
That sounds like a call I would respond to.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Yeah,
I was
so
going
we
to
Just
say,
lit this guy on
apropos.
fire. Can you guys do something?
So do you want to discuss what you do for work and do you have any fun stories for us?
Sure. Yeah, I actually just made a transition. I worked at the Ponce Inlet Fire Department there in my hometown for almost 15 years, and then I just transitioned. It's been like 10 months ago, and I got a job at the Orlando International Airport Fire Department.
Whoa, okay, wait a second. Do you like get to put out jet fires and whatnot?
Yes.
That's cool.
Hopefully they never occur, but,
Oh, but you don't have to revive meth heads anymore.
nope, still do.
Okay,
still
at
do.
the airport?
Big homeless population at the Orlando Airport, believe it or not. Down on level 1 where the rental cars are.
Dang it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's the end of so we have a Lynx bus, like city bus, and it's the end of the line.
Okay, so they hop
So
off.
they kick them off.
Kick 'em
They
off
kick them
there.
off.
Okay.
And then they just filter into the airport. There's all sorts of nooks and crannies to hide in.
Did you imagine when you were getting this airport job that part of the work would go? You knew. You
No,
went in.
I had no idea.
Eyes fully open. No.
I had no idea. In my eyes, it was always a goal to end up working at that department. It's an elite fire department. The pay is significantly better, and it's the same pension system, so it's a no-brainer. But yeah, no, I thought I had no idea that we'd encounter that sort of thing. It's far less than when you work for a residential fire department. And especially if you work in part of your district is low-income areas, you end up running. We call them frequent flyers. You end up running on the same people, the same groups of people
Well,
all the time.
and my favorite stories, I mean, you would not believe how many people show up straight from the 2:00 bar closing tab. 2:30, you roll out of the bar, you get in the Uber. At precisely 3:00, John sees a number of individuals getting ready for their 5:00 flight the next morning, but can barely stand up.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I've never been shit-faced at
On a
an
flight.
airport
Yeah.
or on a flight, but man, a lot of people do.
So is it people coming into Florida for a convention or something like that and going and have a big one, or
It's
are they
all
just like?
types of people. It's insane. It's businessmen. It's college kids.
I mean, that
It's-
seems brutal because it's not like. I mean, I guess you're out of the bar at 2:30. Flight leaves at what? I mean, what are the early flights? 6?
5
we have
o'clock
flights. Yeah, we have flights at
Okay.
like 5:15, 5:30.
So they're rolling into their
2 hours ahead. So
Yeah.
they're showing up at 3 a.m. So they're like, "Why go home?
Right. Why pay for a hotel?
Yeah, why go stay anywhere? Let's just go stay at the airport."
That turns my stomach to even think about it. Getting on
Unlike-
a cross country flight at
Yeah.
just
Brutal.
smashed.
And unlike international airports like Jakarta, where
Yeah.
they close the airport at midnight and kick you out on the street, which has happened to me, Orlando's open 24/7.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everybody just grabs a couch, grabs the floor. And, yeah.
Waking up after a 2-hour drunk sleep and getting on a 6-hour flight.
Yeah.
Like I can't honestly think of very many things worse than that.
And then trying to
And
explain,
it's Florida.
Yeah.
trying to explain to somebody that they cannot get on the plane
Because they're too
and the
drunk.
only reason they can't get on the plane is because they're too drunk, and they cannot comprehend that.
Right.
How many times are you called in for that, or the police?
Yeah, we get called in for that.
Okay.
Yeah, police don't want to write the report.
Yeah.
So they call it a medical emergency and go, this person's altered. And so then our protocol states that if someone is intoxicated and is behaving in such a manner, then we can't accept a refusal from them. Everybody, I mean, it's America. Everybody has the right to refuse medical evaluation unless they're drunk.
Wow.
If they're drunk, then
Off to the
by
hospital.
law, we cannot allow them to refuse.
So you take them to the hospital.
We provide them two options. Either come with us in the ambulance or go with them in the patrol car.
Oh.
So they always pick the ambulance.
Not always.
Yeah.
Not always. Depends on how drunk they are.
I mean, they have to pay for the ambulance, right?
Yeah.
And
eventually.
do they have to pay for the police car?
No.
I'd take the police car all
Yeah.
day, every day. You're going to
Yeah.
end
Might
up
be
in the
some
same
court
spot.
costs there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, an ambulance rides $1,000 minimum.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the ER, for them to evaluate you,
Yeah.
give you some fluids, and cut you loose is probably $2,500.
Oh my goodness. So those listeners, hide your drunkenness
this is
at
a
the
PSA.
Orlando. Yeah, hide your drunkenness
Yeah.
at the Orlando International Airport.
Good advice.
Yeah.
But
You asked what was going on in Florida, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
To create such headlines, but I think
Okay.
John did a good job. unless you have an answer to what's going on in Florida.
No, my life's pretty standard, really. Just taking care of the festival.
Raising kids in
Raising
perpetuity.
kids. Yep, absolutely. Trying to surf. Ooh, we've had good waves lately. That's been fun.
Good.
Hurricane
So-
Earl,
Yeah. Earl whipped her up.
10 days of overhead waves. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah,
Straight.
it was
How
solid.
how early were you guys out on it? Or was it, was it
I was-
dawn patrolling every day or?
Well, because my schedule's 24 on, 48 off. So the days I'm working, I can't surf at all. But yeah, the days off, I put in a few 8-hour days.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're
Earl.
living the life of Riley over there.
Have you ever surfed hurricane swell?
I don't know.
I got the tail end of one once in Florida, and it really is something fun. Like there's something particularly like, I don't know, it's like electric. Like there's a feeling of everybody's hyped and it felt different from like a quote unquote swell event here.
Yeah. Move your mic a little bit to your right so it's more kind of or the base of it. Swing it around. There you go. Because when you're looking at Chaz, you're a little bit off.
Oh, copy.
That's perfect.
All right.
So I'll let you guys pick. We either go to the listener line, I've got a great call, or discuss the WSL schedule. Which do you want to do first?
WSL schedule.
There we
WSL
go.
schedule it is. I mean, that is the news of the week. So I have an email that I will read to you. And it says, quote, reading Chaz's Instagram this morning, I thought this must be April Fool's Day. Then I realized that no, it's September, so it can't be. So maybe it's one of his clickbait headlines. But no, with everything that happened at finals, with Steph winning the title that should have been Carissa's, and the WSL now rolling out this bullcrap, they've really, totally, and finally lost the plot. My interest in the WSL is now deader than dead. Please inform me why I should care when what a surfer has done during the season doesn't mean a thing at the finals, more than the fact that he or she, or that sentence doesn't make sense, but he says, it's a complete travesty of what competition during the season is actually about. And the inclusion of Lamore makes it double, no triple worse. I think that the only hope for the surfers of the WSL is to stage a complete mutiny and just refuse to surf. The brass must go. ELO and LMD must be booted out of the office and never return.
From Kelly Slater.
Strong
Sign.
opinions coming from the internet. What were you going to say, Kev?
I don't know how much Elo has to do with that final decision, but my guess is he's definitely on board with it. But where do you think that pressure came from for the ranch? For the surf
Directly
ranch to be
from
back
Elo.
on the
Directly from Elo. I would
directly
say.
from Elo.
They
no, from-
own it.
from Ziff.
Hang on. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like he does make decisions that he likes on his own from a media coverage standpoint, probably from a Fox or whoever's paying him, CBS, to run a 2-day surf event because there's probably revenues tied to that justify it TV wise. I don't know. I'm just saying that there are external forces at play here that are.
No, there's not. I think it's cheap to run. They don't need to permit it. That's number one. And the fact that if they're coughing up France because a permit is too expensive, then I mean, I think that's where they're at financially. And then also, I think they need it to advertise the pool. Like this is still the thing. I think it's the only thing in their entire world that makes money. And so maybe. I think they were booked solid for like the last couple of years, but maybe bookings have gone down. And they're like, oh no, people forgot that Surf Ranch exists. We better hold another contest to just free publicity for book your day for 50 grand or whatever it is.
All right. So your case is that they need to raise the publicity of the park, but also
they don't want to pay for fees to hold.
Fees for
This helps keep the expenses down. For
Expense down, publicity up. It's like a win-win.
And sell a
for
few
the WSL.
pools.
Okay. So I don't, in other words, what I'm trying to say is I don't think somebody's like, I really like Surf Ranch as a contest venue. I think it's all these forces on them that are like, stick a contest here, we'll solve a lot of problems, and then we can move forward. I think terrible idea. I
mean, the numbers are horrible on it. I know.
Yeah, they are.
The viewing numbers are abysmal. The surfers honestly hate it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a draw for people to go up to Lemoore. It's not like they're selling tickets. I think they've tried, but it's not. I mean, I've
That
been
doesn't
to one
add
of
to the
them.
bottom
Yeah,
line.
it's like
So what you're saying is partially true, but I don't think that Eric Logan. I don't think Ziff, first of all, is mandating the decision. I don't think he's even getting involved in these decisions. Yeah. But I don't think Eric Logan cares about the quality of the waves. There's a bunch of other criteria that he is trying to meet. Can we control the forecast? Yes, you can here. Do we own the venue? They do here. They don't have to deal with the permitting. We went to G-Land last year, and it turned out that was a gamble. We can get great waves if we time it properly, but it was a gamble, and we lost that gamble, and it costs us a bunch of money, and we didn't get the return on that investment. So this controls a bunch of variables. The quality of the waves itself is low on the list of things that he's going for, and that's been proven at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I think that is the ultimate miss here. Like, without putting the best surfers in the best waves in the world, you're never going to grow the audience the way that you want to grow it. Like, it's just not that interesting. Watching people surf a beach break in Australia, a beach break in Brazil, a beach break in Portugal, that it all looks the same to your average viewer. There's nobody who can discern the difference between any of those. So they're only ever going to be
your average target viewer, because we know the difference between.
But we don't even watch it. We don't watch those events.
That's true.
So they've lost us, and they'll never grow to the audience that they're trying to grow to. So the only way to achieve their goals of growth, whether it's to the core audience or to an average viewer, is to put them in harrowing surf. And it's super obvious. And by the way, it's the only way to retain your talent.
I 100% agree. It just makes way too much sense. Why are we messing around? There's so many waves out there of consequence that we could time reasonably.
So that's the question is, why aren't they running at Cloudbreak? And they'll give you the answer of, well, there's problems we haven't been able to solve for, whether it's the government or permitting or whatever. Well, why didn't we get waves at G-Land last year? Well, it's because X, Y, and Z. What I'm saying is those are essential stops. If you haven't solved that problem, you have failed at your job. Because guess what? Other people solve for it all the time. People end up there. Companies hold photo shoots in these locations. And I know there's more moving parts for the WSL, but it is a mandate that you have to run in good surf. If you're going to run the World Championship of Surfing, you should run in good surf.
Yeah, that's a mission. You want to find out who is the best surfer.
So are you saying you cannot figure out how to put your tour surfers at Cloudbreak during a good time of year and solve the logistical problems? You're telling me you can't do that at G-Land? You can't do it? Then you guys have failed. Yeah. You guys, this is your only job. You have failed miserably. So don't come back to us and peddle, oh, it's a little too complicated. By the way, Western Australia is giving us a bunch of money, so we're just going to go there and do it. Oh, and we own this wave pool, so we're just going to do it. Because we failed at this other thing, now we're going to do this. I'm not buying it. It's bullcrap.
What I'm mostly curious about, and I've been curious since the schedule got released, is what they were expecting. Like, when they put it up, for sure they knew there was going to be some blowback, right? Like, they're not so dense as to not have heard the stuff like the people get mad that Trestles, decides the finals, right? But I think that they probably cotton in the ears enough for that one. And also like the numbers, right? Keep pumping the numbers. Like we're getting engagement. So there's these people who are grouchy about it, but overall we're growing. So, but then sticking the pool in there too. Did they think, okay, people are going to grumble for a little while. I've done daily since they've announced it, deep dives into the World Surf League's own Instagram comments. I have yet to find one positive one. Beach Grid had one in our 10 comments. Some Brazilian guy like, oh, this is good. Whatever he was saying. Did you read that one?
No.
It was like something about how it makes for equality or something because it's not on the ocean. And
because he knows a Brazilian's going to win it.
Yeah, it's all good. Like, but that was so Beach Grid had one comment that was pro Surf Ranch. Honestly, so when and Eric Logan's comments, purely negative. Jesse Miley Dyer. And usually these people all have their fanboys and girls like fist pumping. Or do they just not care? Like
it doesn't help prove who the best surfer is in the world surfing that pool.
Great point.
That's the end of the story. I mean, it's really not a contributor to the goal, the mission of the whole thing.
I mean, it actually nullifies the best surfers in the world.
I would totally sign off though if they had Surf Ranch, Waco, or that new Brazilian one, Perfect Swell or whatever it's called. If they had like 3 or 4 pool stops, then as part of a bigger world tour, then I could say, oh, okay, we live in the day and age of wave pools, and sure, the surfer who can, surf. I mean, the problem is Kelly's is the one that doesn't matter because they can all do really adequate rail turns. They can all squat in a little mini barrel, and again, Kelly's is a blast to surf, right?
Yeah,
it is so much fun to surf. It is phenomenal to surf. It is awful to watch. And I think everyone
the crazy thing is Kelly said as much 3 weeks ago I forget where he was interviewed, but he said, we've kind of learned now that the wave is not great for competition and it's not interesting and it's actually boring for competition.
Yeah.
Slater said it himself.
Maybe that's what I was referring to earlier. But it's kind of like the indoor soccer league of soccer. Do you remember when that was a thing in the 80s? I'm dating myself now. Like you'd turn on indoor soccer and you'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. And about 8 minutes later, you're on to something else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's not the real thing. It's not the real playing field.
The novelty of it for somebody who's never seen it, I think can last for like 2 or 3 waves, maybe. It's like, zzz, and there it is. Oh, look at this wave. Cool. But then honestly, will you watch
well, that's my question to you.
My goal is I really, 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 I shouldn't say this. I'm not going to say it because I actually have to make it happen. So
you're going, right?
My question that I pose.
Yes, but I want to go behind the scenes, and I figure I have a way to do it, but I got to keep it shut, or else I'll get caught out.
I have a question I'll pose at the end of this segment to close it out. But a listener messaged Dave Prodan on Instagram about the schedule, and Dave, like, what the hell, basically. And Dave said that the tour schedule, this is quote, the tour schedule is a collaborative process between ourselves, our surfers, and our partners. After lengthy discussions with our surfers, it was agreed that Lowers provides the most neutral, high-performance canvas on the planet. All WSL 5 final surfers have to perform across the season just to get a shot at the title, which, again, collaborating with the surfers, it was agreed that the surfer performance should decide the world championship, and Lower Trestles is a great venue for that. Our listener said, how about those comments on the WSL page? Who is your audience? Do they factor into your decision making at all? It really doesn't sound like it. And Dave said, I appreciate the comments are negative. The reality is that our audience figures have never been higher, which drives the value of the platform, which means we can continue to run events.
See, they don't care. But what they're doing is, I know this game. I run a clickbait game at Beach Grit, right? Like, it's all great. I totally get it. Like, there's a way to drive numbers. That's what they're doing right now. They're not driving numbers the way they think they are. I guarantee it. I guarantee this is a smoke and mirror. This is dog and pony. Yes, you can blast numbers up, not with bots and stuff. I wouldn't even be surprised if there were a bunch of new Indian surf fans just on the edge of their seat for Surf Ranch. But that's the feeling I get from ELO too, is they're like so hyped on the numbers that they're like, screw all you haters. This is what the people want. This is huge.
Except they're still running a losing business.
Well, I mean, the numbers I would argue are not even real.
Right. Yeah.
Like, or they're real people, but they don't reflect real engagement.
What is
They don't surf.
Yeah.
The
I
league
think
is,
a lot of their growth numbers, they clearly don't surf, and I think the WSL. I was actually going to pose this as a question to you guys. Do you think the WSL cares about the core surf audience?
clearly not?
No.
Clearly not.
Clearly not.
I think
you
it's
take G-Land away and replace it with the Surf Ranch, and you still end in lowers. And the quote from Pro Dan that a surfer has to perform across the season in order to win a world title is 100% false. We just saw it.
Right.
Felipe didn't even paddle in to a wave at Chopes and did nothing in pipe. And so it's like you've reduced the amount of significant waves of consequence. You've reduced it down to where you don't have to perform in those waves and you can still win a world title.
I mean, I would love for Philippe. I would be the biggest Philippe fan ever if he refused to paddle out a pipe, refused to paddle out a chope, who just didn't go and won his title again, and just to show him like, hey, I can surf where I want.
If he actually owned that and was like, F it, I'm afraid of those big waves, and F it, I'm going to trounce everybody.
I don't need him.
In small waves, so much so that I don't need those waves.
Did he get a couple waves in the second heat in his elimination heat?
He did,
but the surf was well smaller, and good on him for paddling. But I mean, that heat with Slater and Hedge,
I think
will
that would
live in infamy.
That was a coached event, right? That was
That's my question. Do you think his camp is saying, look, you have a world title sewn up? Don't go get hurt.
I think that's what they were. I think that's what they were saying after the fact that he stopped paddling. Then or was too scared to go, and then that was the reason afterwards.
That was the rebranding.
Right? That was the rebrand of the thing, because he did it before too. Like whenever this brave act of cowardice.
What's the goal? To win, right?
What do you mean?
Win a world title.
No,
his goal. I'm just saying his goal is to win a world title.
Yeah.
That wave will hurt you if you make a bad move. There's a few surfers that get hurt there and can't finish the season. His goal was short. It's directly to the point. The closest point is, between 2 points is a straight line. You don't take a wave at do we respect it? No, that's a completely different question.
But if he it's twofold for me. I think winning a championship is sure that may be his goal, but I think the true surfer looks at another surfer. They want to see somebody who rips and charges and all that stuff, right? Like there's a box tick for. That's why I think. We love, as much as I poke fun, we all love Kelly Slater, right? I mean, he charges. He's like beyond talented. There's but part of it is that he charges. Philippe, I think the part that perpetually frustrates me is that he just doesn't cop to it. He says straight faced, I am not scared. I am not scared. You're reading me wrong. Like, you fucking pussy. Just say you're scared.
I don't want it to sound like I think that was the right call, but
sure.
Kelly would, if Kelly were in the same position,
would charge.
He would fully commit every.
Kelly
every
he was in the same position. He was in the heat.
Yeah,
but he wasn't in the final five.
No, but him and Hedgie were in that heat.
Yeah.
And
they had no incentive, by the way. Yeah, they had no incentive to endanger themselves in that heat. To kind of make your point, they weren't in a world title race. They could have easily backed out and said, I'm going to get injured here. I got things to do next week. But no, they went for it because they're surfers and those are the best waves in the world.
And they can't.
Andy
stop.
Irons never would have said no. Gabriel Medina never would have said no. Even if the world title was on the line, they would show up. They would go do it on a free surf. They'd go out of their way to go surf it, actually.
That's what I feel is you can't, like those guys, the guys of that caliber can't stop. Like that wave comes, you cannot help but turn and go. Where Philippe is not made of the same material, which is fine. Like that's okay. Be scared. I totally love that you're scared. Just look me in the eye and tell me you're scared, and I'll give you a nice warm hug. That's all I need.
So my question for you guys is, we harp on the WSL way too much,
nonstop,
and it's ad nauseum, and it gets boring, I'm sure, for listeners because it's negative. This is kind of an affront. This schedule that they've delivered us is an affront.
Besides
and it is
the Surf Ranch, tell me what else you have a problem with.
Finals day at Lowers.
Okay.
I mean,
just to be
we'll
clear,
go through the
so
list.
everybody
We'll go
listen.
through the list. Portugal, Brazil, El Salvador. Don't need that. Finals day at Lowers, and Surf Ranch. That would be my problem. Those would be my problems.
That's a lot of the
That's
season.
half the tour.
That's a problem.
That's half the tour.
Yeah.
So the schedule, mainly though, Surf Ranch for sure, and giving up G-Land for Surf Ranch, and then also Finals Day at Lowers
What
again.
would you do to change it if you were running it?
Running the best waves in the world.
Okay, so
bring back G-Land, bring back Cloud Break, We could probably get rid of Bells, to be perfectly honest. Margaret River, I don't need.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this
box.
At this point, it feels like we do not care about the core audience at all. We are going to kind of do what we think is right for the business, even though I would argue it's not servicing the business. And by us talking about them, we're actually driving traffic to them. We talk all the time about there's no such thing as bad publicity. So my question to you guys is, 2023, do we do a complete moratorium on all WSL conversation or stop the steal? Organize our army and create a campaign
That's a terrible
to stop
analogy.
the
That's a
WSL
terrible
from
analogy.
stealing surfing from us.
The world's worst analogy. You
No,
gotta pull
it's
back
the most
on that phrase.
intentional. It's the most intentional analogy, actually.
Intentional and if literal, but I know the connotations are.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, we have an army of people. Well, these are the arbiters of surfing ultimately at this point, and they're turning it into the WWE. They're getting Chris Cote. They're getting the fighters on stage, and they're like, we're going to have a showdown. And there's all this pomp and circumstance when the focus should just be on the ocean. The focus should just be on the good waves. So I'm not buying into the circus at all. I'm going to put my foot down, and there's two ways we can handle it. Moratorium, don't drive their business, or organize and we start a campaign to not let them steal surfing from us.
The problem is it's almost as much fun to hate the WSL as it is to watch good surfing. I forget. I always know how fun it is to hate on the WSL. But then there'll be that one good heat or one good day. It's more, I guess, good half day, let's say, right? When
pipe this year.
Yeah, when my
Tahiti this
jaw's on
year.
the floor and I'm commenting with others and just really enjoying watching good surfing and thinking, oh, wait, that's funner than hating on the WSL. But otherwise, hitting on the WSL is pretty damn fun. And
It gets exhausting.
I don't know, they do a really good job of keeping it fresh. I don't know how they keep it fresh.
So no moratorium.
I'm all for it. I can't wait to go to Surf Ranch.
Okay.
Do
we try to coalesce and start a petition or something?
I mean, to get me to Surf Ranch?
No, well, to stop the direction that the WSL is
No,
taking.
I want them, if anything, either make it good or make it really, 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 really bad.
They're headed there.
And they've done a great job of making it really, 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 really bad for 2023.
I saw the article you wrote. I never saw the actual post, but it was, I think, Anastasia Ashley showing up at a hotel room. What was that?
I mean, people were just furious about it.
I saw Biolis's comment.
Yeah, people were livid.
But what was the post itself?
I think it was Anastasia at a Best Western, just like, hey, let's, whatever, like an influencer, like standard influencer post. But it was on the WSL's feed, and I think it was a WSL sponsored with the Best Western thing. It's just like goofy shit. I mean, But again, the WSL becoming way funnier than Saturday Night Live, to me, is a win. Like Eric Logan being totally oblivious, and Prodan as the most company man who ever lived. I mean, they're all caricatures at this point, right? The ones left, Eric Logan as the snake oil salesman. We could cast it all. Jesse Miley Dyer, his right hand, who's maybe super pro equality, but menacing somehow in the background, and also doing personal coaching seminars on Instagram
for leadership
seminars. Yeah.
Banishing Joel Tudor to sit down the beach at the Duct Tape Invitational. Literally, you're not allowed to sit on site.
Yeah.
So he's off the contest.
Your event.
And then we have company man Dave Prodan, who cannot say boo about the company. No matter what they do,
right.
He is so you have this cast of characters. Never Bugs was great, but he was Bugs. He was Rabbit Bartholomew. How much fun were we gonna make? Brody Carr was fine. I love Brody Carr. Did the Olympics, and you couldn't really. I used to make fun of. I mean, I made fun of Brody, and then we arm wrestled, and formed a beautiful romance. But there used to be they used to be surfers, and now they're not, and it's pure comedy. I mean, it is like a Coen Brothers film, and I don't know what better there would be unless it's going to be actually good surf.
You can't not talk about it.
No, it's great.
There's no way that the question that I agree. You can't not talk about it. You have to continue to voice, but also put out solutions and ideas. I always love that
constantly
you guys have done that in the past, but I mean,
we do all the
how
time.
does the World Surf League not boil this down to 6 locations of waves of consequence
with less people.
and then we have a world title.
With 20 surfers, 6
you don't
waves.
even need the finals day. I mean,
their biggest flaw at this
I'm over
point,
that.
I feel like, is their inability to pivot to what's happening in the ocean.
Yeah.
To miss G-Land
Yeah.
that badly with pumping swell 2 weeks before and pumping swell 2 weeks after. Even on finals day, they continued to run. It was like, and I think Cote even said it, like once they started the day, it was written in stone that they had to finish that day.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I pulled up the cam, it was pumping and it was clean.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. The reason why it's so cumbersome is because there's too many surfers on tour. Like if they took the advice of just the best surfers in the world at the best waves, they'd be more nimble.
yeah.
And well, at any rate, we don't need to belabor it. I think we've covered it.
Can't wait to cover it
We'll come
again
back
next
to
week.
it. Yeah, we'll come back to it, I'm sure, every week.
I mean, you're
wait,
free to hit the 30-second forward button. I mean,
Totally.
if you're bored, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
No
That's
big
what
deal.
yeah, totally.
And we're also assuming there's going to be a 2023 season of the WSL.
Good point. Good point. Do you want to hear from the listener line?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, this listener calls in with a query of the ages. Tale as old as time in the surf world. My volume's down.
Today, why?
Hold on, let me replay it.
All right, so I had this thought today. Why is everybody so obsessed with barrels? Why are we as a culture so obsessed with barrels? Why am I so obsessed with the barrel? I had a 6th session today on the East Coast. Caught better waves than I have all year. And then I looked at Instagram and I saw a pro surfing 6 blocks away from me getting barreled a couple times. I got great waves myself today during a long session. I hooked some really good turns right in the pocket. And if you know that feeling, you know one turn can make a whole session. And I had a few of them and it was great. And I was stoked on how I surfed. And also today, I ruined a couple waves trying to get barreled. It was kind of offshore. I saw it. I'm stalling. I'm positioning. And the whole time the wave is running away in places where I could do turns or have fun, but I didn't. And I blew a couple waves because I was trying to get barreled.
Why are we so obsessed with barrels? And how many times did he say barrel in that
A
call?
lot. You can never say barrel too many times, though. We used to say it before
We
Hannah.
did, that's true.
Before Hannah.
What are your
BH.
thoughts? What's the obsession?
I mean, the obvious first thought in my head was, it's very sexual.
Ooh, that was the
Very
first thought in
sexual.
your head?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Now you know where my.
Don't lift your eyebrow like that at me.
I haven't seen my wife in 5 days. No, I don't know. I think it's one of the first things you think about as a novice or an aspiring surfer is you think about what would it be like to hang out in the green room for a couple of minutes, and then just you find out how difficult it is after you start surfing, and then it's this elusive hunt for a specific location that will provide you with the loss of your virginity, if you will.
Oof.
And then see where I'm going with this. I think.
I do.
Yeah.
I hear you.
It's the rarest commodity in surfing.
So
and
it's a
so
scarcity
it's
thing.
it's a scarcity thing. Yeah. It's to find a spot that consistently barrels is very difficult. And then even that spot is only doing it on certain days. And then you got to try to line up the rest of your life around those certain days. You can go surf all the time, but to be able to drop what you're doing, go surf when it's doing that. I'm going to try and go through this without saying the B word. But yeah, to be able to drop what you're doing and go experience that is such a orchestration of events. Scarcity makes it desirable.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's something. So I totally hear what the caller is saying about blowing, becoming so barrel obsessed that
happens all the time.
Yeah, that you blow, but I think to John's point too, to be able to read a wave that well and to know, okay, this thing's barreling. I think the best barrels in my life have all been purely accidental, right? I dropped in at just an angle and I mean, literally just happened to get the lip huck over, right? And I'm sitting there, I didn't like backdoor, and I guess I've had a couple backdoors where you see it in front of you and you like kind of hurry up and get in there. But, you know, I don't know, the art of getting barreled, of knowing is an art of knowing the ocean. And there's something I think really sublime in that, where our listener, like me, struggles with that part, right?
Well, everything that all of you guys have said, I guess, other than the sexual comment, could be applied to a floater. It takes all the elements for a floater to come together, you know, or cracking the lip a certain way.
You can toss a floater on any kind of crap.
Those elements come together way more frequently than a barrel.
I'd say that there's a bit of courage involved too, because I've dodged a couple barrels in my life that I regret, and I'm sad to admit it. Like out at Impossibles, a couple feet overhead.
What was her name?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So the idea was of the courage to actually tuck into this little front side, but potentially harrowing Jim as a newer barrel rider would have been me at that point, is daunting. It's like doing something dangerous for the first time too. It's a scary thing over a reef, at least.
I agree with everything you guys are saying, but I think it's more spiritual than you are giving it credit for.
I got another thing to add to it. I think that it's the one thing in surfing where it feels like you're receiving a gift versus performing your gift on the wave.
Ooh,
Boom.
John Brooks
So-
for the win at the end.
So this is more in line with what I was like. Spiritual, this is a rebirth. This is akin not to sex, but to the birth canal. Through your entry into the
All moves
planet.
in a circle, David.
I know, exactly. It does it? Is that how you do it?
That's my
Counterclockwise.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Kevin Nealon and Happy Gilmore.
This is the rebirth. This is remindful of transitioning from the womb through Mother Ocean into the world. And so, yes, it is a gift. It's a rarity. It's all of those things. I think it's the fountain of youth. I've heard Mickey Munoz, I believe Yvonne Chenard has talked about this as well, which is show me somebody who gets barreled all the time and I'll show you, you know, somebody who defies aging, basically. Look at Kelly Slater as the example.
Yeah.
Jerry Lopez.
Jerry Lopez, as bendy as a baby.
Yep.
So
Look at me. I'm getting older every year. No
Yeah.
barrels.
I
No
know.
barrels.
Dodging barrels.
Yeah,
made my point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the point.
Need to
So
get
I
more
think that we
barrels.
have solved it. That is the obsession with the barrel. Is it's this calling back to our youth.
Yeah. It's one of the few times too that you have to slow everything down and you have to almost become motionless.
Totally.
And everything happens to you.
Totally.
Whereas the rest of every time you do a turn, a floater, you're doing something to the wave.
It's kind of
You're
aggressive.
allowing the wave to do something to you.
This is becoming one.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
Dora-esque.
Totally. And almost, I feel like that call, because he used the word barrel so many times, it almost calls for a remix.
All right, so I had this thought today, barrels. Thought today, barrels, barrels. So I had this thought today, barrels, 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 barrels. Why is everybody so obsessed with barrels, barrels, barrels? Why is everybody so obsessed with barrels? Barrels. Barrels. Why? All right, so I had this thought today. Why is everybody so obsessed with barrels? Why are we as a culture so obsessed with barrels? Why am I so obsessed with the barrel? I had a 6th session today, getting barreled a couple times, and I had a few of them, and it was great, and I was stoked on how I surfed. Trying to get barreled. Saw it, I'm stalling, I'm positioning, and because I was trying to get barreled. Why are we so obsessed with the barrel? I'm trying to get barreled. There's a question on barrels. Everybody wants to get barreled. I want to get barreled. I hope that the forecast includes me getting barreled. But where does this obsession with barrels come from? And you're getting barreled over and over again. I'm obsessed with barrels. I'm obsessed with barrels.
It was
Barrels.
You know who's not
Why?
obsessed with barrels is Eric Logan. Running in wave pools and
Yeah.
beach breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He,
He might
needs
be.
to understand.
Yeah.
He might be obsessed with Kelly's barrel. Here's the thing about Kelly's barrel. Funny. Again, just going to brag about how many times I've been to Surf Ranch and surfed it. The barrel there is totally worthless to me. I do not care about it. Did not care about it. Purposefully.
no joy.
straight up ignored it, because to me the joy of a barrel is one in the wild, right?
Yeah, right.
Knowing when, okay, oh, I see this is the section of barrels, and you squat down and you get low and you kind of race and
you come out and your friend sees it
and it's all fine and good. But that's the kind of barrels that Eric Logan likes. Is he loves a surf ranch barrel, right? Like, and all those guys, I've seen a bunch of them just live for the barrel. I'm like, why are you doing that? Why not? And surf ranch to me is actually a place where you can improve your top turn, right? Like you have this canvas or like I picked, like I want to do a better, like kind of wrapping carve, and you can't really wrap there into the, cause there's no,
It's too fast.
yeah. And but there's stuff you could do there. I wanted to work on stuff out in the face, right? Because that stupid squat barrel thing, that doesn't happen in life, right? I mean, unless you're sitting at Kira or Superbank or something, right? And on one of those days, and oh, here's my surf ranch barrel training that I can use. Like, screw that.
It's also not a shoaling wave. It's it's a wave that's being pushed through the water, as opposed to one it's
totally true.
Has energy moving through it.
Yeah.
When you see, it's actually really hard to read that barrel. Because
why are you so obsessed with barrels?
yeah, I don't know. In the ocean, you see it coming, you know, and it's like you see it down the line, the wave doing something. This, it almost comes from underneath you. It's kind of over here and underneath, and it starts sucking up, and it's a totally different read than it is in the ocean.
Which is, and the guys who are super, like, so I've seen, again, these guys like go and get long barrels there. These guys who could not for sure get barreled in the ocean, right? But they've done it. They have enough money to spend there. And so they go and do it again and again and again and again. And of course, anybody could get barreled at Surf Ranch, right? Like with enough time, enough practice, Ramona yelling in your ear, you sit back, you know, whatever, you figure out your balance point a little bit. But yeah.
And that bothers you.
It doesn't bother me. It's just not a barrel. I refuse to call that a barrel. Getting covered with water is not a barrel.
And I've heard plenty of high quality surfers talk about the barrel there that have been there that say it has no trough.
Yeah.
It's flat.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a shoaling wave. It's not pulling off the bottom. It's just rolling over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't get that same feeling.
No, it's not like a pit thing where you're like locked in. It's you're racing and you're tucked in, but
it's pushing you instead of pulling against you and you going through it.
John and I still want to try it.
It's great.
I'd still like to go, Kelly.
It is a phenomenally fun wave to surf. I just think the barrel is the least fun part, about my personal opinion.
And it ends up at the contest being the most
boring
ridden part of the wave.
Yeah.
They do like one or two turns and then they pull in and they sit there forever.
And who wants to see that? Who wants to see that?
Yeah. It's the most boring thing to watch.
Well, I said this years ago when we were actually broadcasting from Surf Ranch, but I would be, we're sitting in the media booth. I'm doing something, working on something, and Chloe Andino's up and riding. I glance, I go, okay, I got about 60 seconds till I need to watch anything. While he's up and riding, I'm typing on my computer because I'm waiting for the end section, because I know that all the points just come off whether they do an air on the end section or not. They're going to do 5 wraps, then they're going to sit in the barrel, then they're going to come out, and that'll be the meaningful part.
Yeah.
And I was there experiencing it thinking, man, when in a surf contest ever do you look away when they say a surfer is up and riding?
Yeah.
Never once.
Nah.
It doesn't matter whether it's at Newcastle or Pipe. It's like as soon as somebody's up and riding, you give it your full attention. This, it's like I'm actually looking away. That's a problem for Surf Ranch. We need to do some business and go to a commercial break. Do you guys mind going on pause? Maybe even joining us on a commercial break.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. All right, commercial break time. Chaz, we've got nutritional commercials, 2 edible nutritional commercials. Can you guess what they are?
I can only hope that our first one is my favorite nutritional supplement of my entire day. athleticgreens.com/surf.
Well, since these guys are from Florida, which is the home of the strip club capital of the world, I am going to pass it out like I would at the club.
Oh, nice, nice.
There's some greenery.
Yep.
There you go, boys.
Athletic Greens.
Making it rain, athleticgreens.com/surf.
Somebody needs to drop a couple.
With this right here, I will tell you, you guys can go eat bad food. You can go drink bad drinks. Put one of those in your water in the morning. It erases everything.
Read the package to me, somebody. What does it say?
It says comprehensive Comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition. This is a single-use package. Just provides 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients made for just about everybody.
Yep. That includes you.
Both of you.
I'm in.
And all the listeners.
Thank you for the samples.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Feel
Those are travel packs. So listeners, you get 5 free travel packs when you use our portal, which is athleticgreens.com/surf. Everything you need for your full kind of dietary nutrition all in one scoop.
Drink.
Yeah.
Drink it down in the morning.
One drink.
Yum.
Barrel powder.
Total barrel powder. Well done. And then, of course, Bubba Coos. Last time Kevin was on the show, we tried to pitch him opening a Bubba Coos franchise. We're like, dude, don't you want to get rich off burritos? He wasn't sure what we were talking about. And then after the commercial was over, he realized that maybe he was in a commercial.
That also, that
I'm a little slow
at this point, though, maybe he thinks I should have opened a Bubba Coos franchise.
I think he's late to the game.
Yeah.
You want to know why?
Because there's already one in Florida, probably.
12.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many in Orlando?
2.
Oh.
All right.
So when
We'll
you're
hunt them
working
down.
at the airport, swing by Bubba Coos.
Bubba Coos is honestly delicious.
It's there are Coral Springs, Deerfield, Lake Mary, Melbourne, Miramar, to Orlando, Palm Bay, Riverview, Plant City, Naples, and coming to Jacksonville Beach, which I would imagine has to be one of our listeners.
But wait 1 second.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't hear on that list? The Orlando International Airport. John Brooks
Should be.
and Kevin Miller could go in together.
You could not only be working at the airport, but also getting rich off burritos from the airport.
And guess what? You want to know, do you want to know what sops up too much alcohol better than anything?
You could be directing
A burrito.
your
Take-
your potential client.
You grab them off the flight
You know
and
who I'm talking about.
you
Yeah.
say, we got
You're super drunk. Go get a burrito.
3 options.
Soak it up.
Police car, ambulance, or let me take you to my Bubba Coos. Done and dusted.
Boom.
Those guys will be
Yeah.
right as rain. They can get on the next flight with a good Bubba Coos
New,
burrito in the
new
belly.
terminal opening in like 7 days.
Everybody
mean-
wins.
Terminal C. They
don't know
got
how-
empty retail spaces.
Perfect.
I'm just going to say this is leading straight into off-schedule barrel or not, but passing gas
Oof.
in your seat
On an airplane.
on an airplane and then looking around and trying to blame somebody else.
Well, you can get away with it, actually. The way the air circulates in there, especially if you have your fan on, I've gotten away with it many times.
Yeah.
You just say, oh.
if you're on the window side, it's impossible to get to the bathroom in time. It's tough.
There's
It's
nothing.
tough.
There's
It's
nothing
tough.
to
It's
do.
tough
There's
life.
nothing to do. It's the problem is when somebody is doing it.
Yes.
Like the whole flight, then
Brutal.
that person did something that they shouldn't have done before getting on a flight.
Right.
Which that's shame on them. Like one accident happens to everybody, but a person who purposefully went and didn't choose to eat Bubba Coos, but ate something bad for them. Like what? What's the
They,
worst
they
kind
can
of
remain nameless, whoever that is.
the foods? I mean, I'm just trying to think
Oh,
of
okay, I
food
thought
that
you were
would
thinking of
really
another
like.
chain.
They went to ate a big old shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
Then went and sat on the flight.
Mm.
Oof.
Bad news.
Shepherd's pie is pretty good though.
Yeah.
I would like
Bubba Coos
to
after
make
your
a
flight is what I'm trying to say. Bubba Coos after your flight.
yeah.
Boom. There you
Yeah.
go. Bubbacoos.com. Go to bubbacoos.com/surf if you want to download the app and save $2. It'll automatically get credited on your account. They're actually doing free delivery, I think, till the 25th. So a couple more days. Free delivery with no minimum spend on all purchases to be done through their site or their app. No third-party sites. So take advantage of that as well. Bubbacoos.com. All right, boys, we're back from break.
It's a good one. Hot break.
Did you guys listen to our episode last week by any chance?
We
No?
did.
No problem.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our barrel or nah was all related to Lauren's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be glad to know I executed all of your points, delivered a speech, went dancing, did not post anything on Instagram about a gift.
Great.
Yeah.
And it must have been the most successful birthday party of her life.
I'm still receiving accolade from my organization of the weekend.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Way to trust in Chaz.
Yeah.
I did.
That was very nice.
Thank you.
I will only steer you right.
Thank
That's
you.
a shirt. Trust
you.
in Chaz.
Yeah.
It is. We did all of our dancing on Friday night at the gay clubs.
Oh, of course. Palm Springs has a robust gay area, in case you guys didn't know. I'm sure
Okay.
you knew.
Did you not know that?
Unaware?
Huge.
Kind of not real. I've never been there, so I wouldn't know.
Massive.
But I would imagine. Do you feel like dancing in a straight club versus a gay club offers you more license to lay your moves down?
Like more options to...
Yeah, or just like, did you feel less self-conscious?
No. So I don't know. No, I do not. I'm just assessing that now.
You were just as self-conscious.
I was not self-conscious in either scenario, but I've never danced in a gay club until this last weekend. And I think the deciding factor for me, because I was thinking about this last week, I didn't say it on air, is I'm not there to try to get laid. So back being in a relationship.
Different ball game.
Yeah, if you're trying to get laid on the dance and you're on the dance floor, it stinks to high heaven. And then you're nervous and you're also trying too hard at that point. So I was at a wedding in New York a month or two ago and Lauren didn't come with me.
So you're trying to get laid and dance.
So I'm dancing with non-Lauren, but not trying to get laid. I had the time of my life.
Yeah.
And was like, actually, the people were enjoying dancing. I was dancing with everybody. I was dancing with children, old women, everybody, just having a blast. And I realized, like, God, why am I so uninhibited? And it was, I'm not trying to get laid. Once you're trying to get laid, it imposes this weird veneer on it to where the women can sniff it out.
Grandma's sniffing it out.
Yeah, grandma wants to stay away.
Yeah.
So that was the difference for me, and not relevant to whether it was a gay club or not. It's just that one detail.
How inebriated were you at the New York wedding and at this last event?
Not really at all at this last event. Moderately at the New York wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that play into it? Because
No.
that does with me. I mean,
Really?
I feel a lot better if I've got a few in me.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is your go-to dance move, Kevin? Is it thumbs? Is it like
It's a little bit of since we're on camera, I'll just it's a little bit of the Bob Marley. Like
Yeah.
Step, step, and
Yeah.
you kind of hold a drink and do it at the
Yeah.
same time. And if you've got
It helps holding a drink because
Yeah.
then they're not expecting you to go too wild.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
just be like, oh, I'm
And it
low-key right
prohibits
now.
the finger guns.
the finger guns? Is like I've realized I cannot dance without holding a drink because I honestly do not know what to do with my hands, and I'm so self-conscious that I will accidentally go either gunning them down or like they'll be doing something that I don't want them to be doing, like something super awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with them.
I have no advice for you there. I
Yeah.
wish I could be as helpful as you were to me last
Were you a
week.
break dancer? Did I hear?
No,
Oh, okay. I know somebody was talking about breakdancing the other day.
not I.
Wish.
I was.
Yeah.
See, were you really? Oh, so
yeah.
nobody was actually talking about. You just
No, I
brought
just
that
wanted
up.
to bring it
so that
Segue.
Did I hear somebody mention breakdancing? Oh yeah.
Pretty big deal over here.
Why did you bring that cardboard with you?
But you have to bust that out on the dance floor. I mean, that would be such a party trick. I've seen people like really break down their old school breakdance moves.
Yeah.
Like
Old
that guy.
Being
Like,
key.
sure, but of course, but like the vintage break moves.
Yeah, that'd
are,
be
like,
sweet if I could windmill at 51.
Yeah.
I would totally do that
Yeah.
if I could.
Yeah.
Now that you're on athletic greens,
Yeah.
you just might be able to by the end of this trip.
Dude, I can't
What would break
get to
would be Kevin.
I can't get to lowers without holding like a myriad of thigh muscles.
Really?
Slipped on the grating of the trestle itself. Hobbled back. I mean, it was the most embarrassing. Well,
You got to
also-
start. You got to start that story over though. This guy's never surfed lowers. The last time we're out here, I'm like, we're going to lowers. Kevin's the most crowd averse
excited.
surfer I've ever seen. And
We woke up in the.
we woke
like
up
4 o'clock in the
yeah,
morning.
we're walking in the dark, and we get to where like the walls are at the bridge. There's a little grate that you go down the side, and I go down first, and I'm walking, and all of a sudden I hear the sound of a shoe slipping on the metal grate, and then I hear the sound of fiberglass hitting a metal grate, and I turn around, and my man is face down, board thrown, and he
Pulled hammy.
legit pulled quad
Quad.
muscle.
Which hurts.
Which I tried to catch myself with that leg and like every quad muscle in my, like not every one, but a couple of them really they ripped.
How long
I
did
don't
it
know
take to
what's
heal
going on.
up?
It was a good 6-8 weeks.
Yeah,
So
that's
Yeah.
a long.
you didn't get
I mean,
to
it was a
surf
legit.
lowers.
It was
Didn't
a,
get to surf lowers. Yeah.
It was a legit muscle tear.
Hey,
So
the
we're
best part,
standing
it was
there.
6 feet on the face, perfect. Like
Yeah, it was pumping.
10
It was
guys
pu-
out,
pumping lowers.
for like 2 hours.
Nobody out.
And what do you think I did?
Surf
Ripped.
lowers.
Yeah, went and ripped one.
Good on you.
I was so furious. I went to the lowers finals day and was so mad that I didn't bring my board. I was standing there just sweating. Uppers and middles were both not pumping, but they were fun. And like, I think middles just had a bunch of kooks on it. Like it was sort of fun. In my life, I always have thought, anytime you go to Trestles, people rip at Trestles,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like your average surfer rips.
Yeah.
It was that one weird day when somehow they all sucked. Like everyone was terrible surfers out there, like just poo dancing down the line. Like you could have went and had any wave you wanted at pretty fun middles or pretty fun uppers. And I was sitting there watching dumbass WSL surfing without a board thinking, what was my major malfunction this morning that I didn't say, I'm bringing a board?
I would say that most competent surfers avoid lowers during the finals.
Totally.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
the plague.
Well, I thought for sure it's going to be both middles and uppers are going to be packed, and because it was super hot and hot water and it's going to be a zoo and blah, 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 blah.
I think they probably avoid the whole region.
They did. So I guess hot tip.
Good to know.
Next WSL finals day, go down there and surf.
Good
There
to
you
know.
go.
Well, our barrel or not this week is Florida themed.
All right.
Yeah. Wearing an objectionable T-shirt or hat to an amusement park.
I like it. I like where you're going here.
You've seen this.
I've seen it.
Can we just throw out a couple of examples, like Confederate flag?
Sure, that
Or-
absolutely lands. A lot of them are joke T-shirts. You know, they'll have like, I don't know, some offensive joke written in text on the T-shirt or something.
Okay.
I saw, geez, the most objectionable T-shirt I've ever seen at the gay club on Friday.
Can you describe?
I'll tell you exactly what it said. I'm apprehensive to even say it aloud because I was like, excuse me, sir?
Was it like, let me see your butthole?
Very, very close. It said, your dad is my cardio.
Oh, that's epic.
And it was an old dude, it was like a guy who could have been any of our grandfathers, you know,
Wow.
like, and he walks in and I see this text on his T-shirt and of course you want to read it. And I was just like aghast.
But what if it was true?
Jesus. Don't put it in those terms. But you know what I'm saying? Like we see this now on an airplane. You get on an airplane and there's a dude who has a hat on that has some offensive writing on it. And you're just like, dude, this is a family environment. There's children on the plane.
Yeah.
Like, so amusement park makes it Florida themed. It's families there. You see some 22-year-old beer drinking dude who's wearing what he would normally wear out a sand dune buggying with his buddies. Now
Or at
he's
the
wearing,
Daytona 500.
yeah, exactly. Now he's wearing it to Disney World. Where do we draw the line? Is this barrel? Is this nah?
It's a nah for me. Hard nah. To go back to the plane reference is that, and when I started working there at the airport, I started to see this, is that people think that air transportation is a public right, and it is not.
Right.
It's still a private company.
Yeah.
The theme park, still a private company. So if you want to wear your objectionable stuff there, great. When they kick you out,
Don't be
upset.
Good point.
Yeah. I'm going to go pivot off John's. I'm going to say it's a barrel as long as you're not upset when people either get mad at you or kick you out, right? Like if you have a good attitude about the whole thing, if some mom comes up and says, you awful person, my young kid is here. And you say, oh, I'm sorry. Or make some nice joke, whatever. But if you say, it's my shirt, I don't care.
Yeah.
Then
F you, old lady.
Yeah. Then you're in the wrong. But I'm going to say, if you have a sense of humor about your sense of humor, barrel.
I mean, it's so not a barrel to wear a stupid shirt like that to begin with. My wife wouldn't let me leave the house. Are you
Good
kidding me?
wife.
Yeah.
That's a good wife.
But what if it was your dad as my cardio? Would she let you leave the
That's
house
like
in
the
that?
best T-shirt I've heard in a long time. So I guess that's not offensive. That's funny. I mean,
But that's
some people may misinterpret
That's the
that.
thing. One man's offensive is another man's funny, right?
that's where
True,
this gets
true.
really murky.
Yeah,
but that's
Because it could just be like a Metallica T-shirt, and a grandma is offended by that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I'm going to say is if you have a sense of humor about your sense of humor, you win,
Okay.
even with an offensive T-shirt.
Yeah, there's not a lot that offends me these days anyway, but I just think it's kind of silly to wear a straight up F word or whatever it might be that's like topic wise off. My kids aren't even going to get it, first of all, and nor do I care. I'm like, what an idiot. Yeah, I just say no barrel because I think most of these T-shirts that you're talking about in Florida that we see are terrible.
Okay. They sell them at gas stations mostly in Florida.
Yeah.
David Lee?
I think it's no barrel. I think I do see the humor. I like the joke in it, but I think family environments need to be preserved for family.
Safe spaces?
Yeah.
Are you
safe
advocating
spaces.
for
See, that's the thing with your example of you'll get kicked out of this private business. The private business now won't kick them out because they're afraid of being sued and the repercussions of it.
Not anymore.
Okay,
the
good.
airlines
gone?
very short fuse. Very short.
And the airlines actually have to protect the employees.
And
now
off the
too.
plane,
I saw
the plane you go. I see it all
clip
the time.
yesterday of a flight attendant being punched
Yeah.
in the back of the head.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
alcohol fueled probably. All right, so
Not
we're
burrito-fueled.
kind of split down the middle on that one. I mentioned previously or during our commercial that Florida is home to the strip club capital of the country,
Tampa.
So, barrel or not, asking for the prices at the strip club.
Of what?
Whatever's on the menu.
Like services?
Yeah. What if it's a private dance? How much does a private dance cost?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you ask for the menu of the prices on the menu before you commit to anything?
I would imagine that the knowledgeable strip club goer does. I bet the strippers are looking for the sucker, right?
The whole club is built, I think, off the back of suckers.
Yeah.
Like
Are people too scared to say,
people who want to look like they're throwing money around
yeah.
to attract. And so I think they're there to take advantage.
Well, so I'm going to go right out here and say barrel, because that person knows, hey, this person is not going to fall in love with me, this stripper. Like, I don't have to put on a show. I don't have to make it look like I'm a baller, because I don't care. This is a transaction, and like, give me the breakdown here.
Okay.
Give me plus tax.
You want to know the pricing before.
Give me plus, like, no, I don't want any surprises here.
Do you ask what is a customary percentage to tip?
Yep. A whole nine.
Okay.
There's nothing you can't, no way you can shame yourself there. You're already deeply shamed. So you might as well, or not deeply shamed, I suppose, but that there's no relate to pretend that, ooh, maybe if I act like a smooth cat, she'll fall in love.
It'll be free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the biggest dummy in
All right.
that scenario.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go with Chaz.
I
on
like
that.
it.
Barrel. Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah. You don't. That's how you get in trouble by
Yeah.
not asking the prices.
They're there specifically to
They're selling
take
something
advantage
specific.
of that. Yeah.
So
And if it's normally-
I should be able to ask what the specific price is.
If the champagne room is normally 80 and you don't ask, guess what?
It's
They're
100.
charging you 100.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a really good friend who is referred to commonly as the stripper whisperer because he ends up going home with a few on
I know
occasion.
who it is.
Is it Richie?
Yeah. No, because it's not. But this guy is a pro. Now, so I qualify this response because it depends on what your end game is. And clearly, if you're as fastidious as Chaz, John, and myself, and you want to know like what the deal is before you get into it, you'll ask. But this guy knows what he's doing. He doesn't ask. I mean, he spent $125,000 at a strip joint or various strip joints during the course of 2019.
So
But
in
wait,
1 year.
We added it up
In 1 year.
in 1 year.
But 1 second though, this sounds like stripper whisperer is / man who's able
Sugar
to
daddy.
discern prostitutes and in legal or gray areas.
True.
Because what's your end game is my question. Like, if your end game is to engage in a post-closing night of fun with 2 consenting adults, and there might be $1,000 sitting next to your purse before you leave. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not like asked for. Like
Yeah.
Going back to price, it's not like she was like $20 after he bought a bottle of tequila and said, "Why don't you sit down for a while?"
Yeah.
I think it was all understood.
Sure.
And he probably is frequent enough to where they all know him too. At that point, that's a lot of money.
So how many times did he get laid that year? I want to find out a per unit cost.
Well, that's a really good question. I don't think more than 3 or 4 times a week might be. The thing was, he had a girlfriend during the time. So, and she worked at that strip joint. So there was, it complicates things when you have a situation like that.
Well,
I would imagine.
that whole thing seems pretty rare.
I think there's more going on, and this guy would
at all.
probably admit to you too that and has admitted that was definitely not where he wanted to be putting his resources in life, and has since made drastic turns to the other side of whatever that is.
Okay, 3 times a week.
Yeah, do the math for me.
I did. It's $800 per bang.
Okay. Yeah, not far off. And,
That's expensive.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a bad strategy.
It is, but it's also horribly, I mean, it's not good for it. I can't only imagine, like, the stripper whisperer is still living and breathing to this day.
It's Matt Warshaw.
It's Matt Warshaw. Can you imagine a more
Stripper
uncomfortable
whisper-
guy in a strip joint?
He had to take beta blockers before he walked in. By the way, the stripper whisperer, it turns out her language is cash. It's not really, you're not really whispering sweet nothings. You're just waving $1,000 or $801.
You are 98% right. You can't be a creep. You have to go home with them too.
So a lot of these barrel or nots, it's a simple question, but it's designed to stimulate interesting conversation. Executed on all fronts. Thank you very much, Kevin Miller.
Yes, Kevin.
Nailed it. Okay, Florida is also home to, it is the retirement community of the USA. It's where everybody goes to retire. So, barrel or not, saving magazines or newspaper clippings to share with one of your friends or someone. This is an old person thing.
Wait,
Can I go first?
Saving magazines.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
have friends who are 50 and older. Every time I go to their house, hey, I saved this magazine for you. It has an article, or better yet, clipped out the newspaper article from 3 weeks ago. And it's like, first of all, who even gets the newspaper anymore? You have to be of a certain demographic.
Right.
And then the fact that you're saving it for me, and I've never once read any one of the articles they've ever given me. This is an
Roll.
old people thing.
Full barrel.
Kevin Miller.
Absolutely. Got one mailed to me the other day from Mr. Brian Thomas, a true gentleman in Winter Park, Florida. Sent me the Kai Lenny article from the New Yorker, even though I'd already read it.
Did he clip it out or did he send you the whole?
He clipped it out and put it in an envelope, like awkwardly folded, old, person wise, and like a note on it that was very kind and funny. And I thought that was amazing. He mailed it to my house. I got a text message from him. He said, confirming my address, I was like, wow, okay. It's like one of my dad's friends.
Thoughtful.
So he is an older person.
He is.
But totally thoughtful, right?
So- yeah.
Just like David Lee should have felt the people handing him things were being thoughtful to him. They read something, they thought of him.
Kindness.
There's
They
no
went to-
question it's a thoughtful thing.
An extra effort to clip it out. I think we should bring this back. In fact, I'm going to go so barrel on this that I'm going to start mailing clippings to Kelly Slater. So I got his address. So he can block me on Instagram, but he can't block his mailbox. But it'll be nice stuff. It'll be nice clippings about him.
It's all
that I
about the
read.
kindness.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can read this. Read this text exchange right here. It's a picture of Sports Illustrated with a surfer. What does that say?
Gotta love Warshaw. He asked for my mailing address, and I received a Sports Illustrated from 1982.
So
random.
So
Warshaw is
this-
a great old mailer.
this friend of mine, who's a supporter of the EOS, Matt Warshaw, reached out to him and goes, hey, what's your mailing address? He gave it to him. Week later in the mail,
82 Sports Illustrated.
82 Sports Illustrated with no explanation at all. Just here's a magazine for
Matt
you.
Warshaw's not on the cover of the 82 Sports Illustrated.
I can't
Just
tell who that
FYI.
is.
I don't think
I
it's
got
Warshaw.
a book, an old Hawaiian novel from the 1950s, and like 6 postcards from Matt out of the blue, thanking me for the capital campaign donation
Fantastic.
that we made from Florida Surf Film Festival last year.
I didn't get any of it.
They're on my. I mean,
You're
it's in
supposed
my-
to, you're
my
supposed to
closet.
share it with
Yeah,
you.
I'm supposed to share it with you. But the book is classic. It's like one of those pulpy sort of novels from the 50s about how some surfer guy, anyway, it's really thoughtful. And I thought it was really nice.
Thoughtful. Barrel.
It's an old person thing.
Look, you thought everybody was going to say, oh, yuck.
Not at
Stinky
all.
old people.
Not at all.
But look.
I'm fine with it.
Great.
But I got that text. I screenshotted it and immediately texted it to Matt. And I go, clearly Jody is making you clear out your garage and you just couldn't bear to throw away these things. And so now you're just mailing them to your random friends. And he's like, wait, you didn't get one in the mail? And I'm like, no. He's like, what's your address? I'm like, oh, great. Now it's Lauren's problem. She's going to be making me clear it out. So,
Very funny.
All right.
Huge barrel for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Big, giant pipeline-sized barrel.
All right.
To me, it's the ultimate act of empathy for someone else.
Yep.
To read something and
Think
to
about
not
them.
only think about how you are interpreting what you read, but how they might interpret it and think that person might like this. It's an act of human kindness, and we need more of it in the world.
Amen.
And then going out of your way
Yeah.
to package it,
Yeah.
go to the post office, buy stamps, all of it. It's a ton of work.
Yeah.
It's thoughtful.
Yeah.
Could backfire on occasion if you send them an article about how to like
Lose
quit
weight.
doing meth or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Every once in a while.
Lead a healthier lifestyle.
What
Here's
if
your
they're
5
doing
tips.
meth?
Every once in a
Could
while.
be the thing that
It's
pulls
still,
them out.
it's still
Good
thoughtful.
point. Good point. Well, let that be a shout out for EOS, EOS.com, encyclopedia
surf,
dot surf.
yeah.
Right. So EOS.surf or encyclopediaofsurfing.com. It's $3 a month. He needs to raise his price.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
does.
we're talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm on the board of the
Yeah.
Encyclopedia of Surfing, and I actually have been pushing that. They're doing a big transition right now of all the content to what Matt refers to as a headless format of the website, which I think will make it faster and easier for people to use when they need to, check out some history, look up their favorite surfer.
It's incredibly valuable. It's invaluable. And nobody was going to stop. If he just says, hey, next year pricing's $5 instead
Yeah.
of $3, nobody's going to cancel their subscription, or the percentage that will be less than he will net from the increase.
Yeah, I think that
So-
like you and your podcast, there should be varying levels of support too, not just a base level, but just, hey, I want to be a platinum,
I like it.
member.
$50.
Platinum.
Yeah.
So we're working on that too.
I like it. Sweet. What else do you guys need to promote?
November, we have a great film festival coming up, 11th and 12th. John, you want to tell them a little bit about what we have? We haven't actually released the programming yet, but we have a few hints, we'll drop a couple movies for you.
Yeah. We've got a film that we're going to be showing that will actually be shown tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight at Taylor's Salento Surf Film Festival, called Facing Monsters with Kirby Brown.
Yep.
And it is eye-opening.
Mhm.
You feel like you've seen all of the heavy, slabby waves in this world, and this guy takes it to a whole different level.
What a character, dude.
Yeah, and absolute legend.
Red Bull production.
Not sure.
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe so. So yeah, we're super excited, and I believe Kirby is supposed to be there tonight.
No
so,
way.
Yeah, kind of
Amazing.
excited, and the director of photography as well
Yeah.
Awesome.
for the film. We have a fantastic film called African Territory that is made by a couple guys. They refer to themselves as the Gauchos del Mar, and they're two Argentinian guys, technically professional surfers, but not anybody that you'd have probably ever heard of. They made a film. They went to Spain. They bought a big military vehicle, turned it into a camper, and drove to South Africa over the course of many months, if not a year or more. And the surfing is good enough to be entertaining, but the real capture of the film is the people they encounter. They just drive this big giant military vehicle with boards stacked on top into Angola and Liberia, and the people that they encounter, and it's fascinating.
Love it.
It's the true modern surf adventure movie,
Yeah.
and it's only part one.
Oh,
So there's going to be a part two, and I just received word from Joaquin that he's just bought his ticket. So
Wonderful. So
Kareem's
yeah,
going to be there.
One of the two Gauchos del Mar will be in attendance at the festival to present his work. So
Awesome.
super excited about that. Another great one called Vona, which is about the Vona Peninsula in northern Turkey on the Black Sea, which I had no idea. I'm embarrassed to say I did not know the Black Sea had waves.
it does.
It has waves,
Yeah.
real waves, left point breaks that make me want to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And features Kepa Acero.
Wow.
And it's just phenomenal. It's a great short film. I believe it's about 18, 20 minutes. And the director's from Dubai. So it's just, cosmopolitan.
This is what you
production.
guys do so well.
Curate
Stuff-
films.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I feel like I'm paying attention to things, and then you guys find stuff that's like
It's really true.
A+ quality, and I would have come across it.
That's really true.
So,
Thanks. But
It's a team effort.
you do point out things like Joe Alani's new film.
yeah,
Through the Doggy Door.
yeah,
I actually just was messaging with Joe the last couple days. And,
sweet.
So we're excited that that one hasn't been programmed yet, but we're looking at it for
Cool.
either November or February. We're trying to figure out. They might have a conflicting date, and they'd like to be there with Sheldon and Mason. So we're trying to figure that out. But
Sweet.
that's in the works too. Kevin, anything I'm forgetting?
Last but not least, it's a team effort. So thank you for that, by the way. And we have Natural High by Hall of Famer
Yeah.
Jack Coleman,
Mm.
who has already booked his ticket in November as well to come out and enjoy his. I think it's the third movie in the triptych, if you will. I think it's part of the Zone trilogy, so to speak. So you can expect exactly, the best surfing on alternative shapes in the world right now. And Jack Coleman, who is just a character to meet and come out and enjoy. And that's what we're looking at.
The winningest filmmaker in Florida Surf Film Festival history,
Jack Coleman.
Amazing.
The GOAT.
Keep it coming.
He's the guy we like. Yeah, people like Jack is what that festival is all about.
Totally. So that's New Smyrna Beach, November what?
11th and 12th.
11th and 12th. Are you going? Are you gonna be there?
No, I'm stuck in.
Tickets will be on sale just around like mid-October-ish.
Okay.
So
sweet.
Look for them then.
Well done, boys.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you
well
guys
done.
for having us. Appreciate it.
Awesome. What's the name of your podcast?
It's called Surf Stories, by the way. We are going to be releasing an episode with the one and only Jamie Brizick that we recorded at the Malibu wall this morning, staring at golden little one-footers coming over. Yeah, it was just so much fun talking to him.
Jamie Malibu can't beat it.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah. Right on. And thanks to Surfing Heritage and Culture Center for hosting us.
So much. I got one more plug too.
Yes,
full
let's
of
hear
plugs. Got the Sports Management Mastermind coming up. If you or a loved one has thought about trying to get sponsored, or you want to get your kid sponsored, or all this kind of stuff, how does it work? How do you get an agent? Blah, 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 blah. In the action sports space, the wife who's an agent, and her friend Sue Izzo who's an agent, and the wonderful Todd Richards, who is a longtime snowboarder, pro snowboarder, and announcer and all this, will walk you through it. So sportsmanagementmastermind.com. If you use Beach Grit, code Beach Grit, hold on here, Beach Grit 22 in the checkout, you get $50 off. It is October 4th, and there's 4 sessions, 4 hour and a half long sessions notable Travis Rice, who showed up before, Tor Bright, bunch of action sports stars will come and talk their path.
Amazing.
So, there you go.
Amazing.
Sportsmanagementmastermind.com.
Very good. John Brooks.
I got one more thing I want to plug too for the Florida Surf Film Festival, and that is it's a long plug, but in spring of 23, we will be hosting a week-long filmmaking residency at ACA. We got a grant from the state of Florida, and we're very excited to host a 5-day. It'll be in June, preceding our June event, and it's to be determined who the master artist is going to be hosting it. But to my knowledge, it'll be the first week-long surf film festival residency ever. So
Amazing.
We're excited about it.
Super
Yeah.
cool.
So stay
So
tuned
they
for
can
that.
follow you on Instagram and find out all that info. Follow your website.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, boys, this has been an absolute pleasure. Great to see you on California soil.
So great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks
of
again.
course. Anytime. We'll have Hannah sign us off as always.
Bon voyage.
There we go. Thank you, Dave.